Greetings everyone, I'm Kate Allen here. I want to welcome you back to my series on the creative process through the lens of the Tarot's Suit of Cups. For this month I drew from the Anime Tarot by Natasha Yglesias, and unfortunately I can't show you the box because it's my daughter's deck and she don't know where it is, but it's fine. And for this month I drew the Knight of Cups, and in the Anime Tarot it's represented by a young woman with long flowing hair who is sitting on her horse, and you can see that they're about to go off somewhere, but she is turned and looking at the viewer of the card with this exuberant delight. She's really happy about this journey she's about to take, and she wants you to come along with her. So for this month, in terms of creative process, I want to think about companions. I think of the anime character and her horse, and I think of the anime character and how she wants to bring you along. There's an invitation to be present with another. So I want you, and I invite you to have your journal ready so you can write some things down. I want you to think back to your childhood and think about who your favorite childhood companion was who wasn't human. And I can think of mine. I'm not going to show you that companion today. I'm going to show you several others so you can get an idea of the sort of thing I want you to think about in terms of your own childhood companion, and then we'll go from there. So I have three companions to introduce you to, and we'll go in chronological order. So this one is my bear. I purchased this bear at like an Amish settlement in Iowa when I was in graduate school. I went with some of my classmates, all of whom were older than I was, to this settlement. And we went to this antique shop, and in this beautiful second story room of this antique shop I found this bear, and I was reminded of Berlin, which is my favorite city, and when you go to Berlin you can see bears all over the city as an icon of Berlin. So I remember once later, when I was studying in California, a friend of mine that I'd studied with in Minnesota came out to visit, and she saw this bear standing in my non-functioning fireplace, and she said it was creepy and would I please cover him up. So he's got quite an aura. But he reminds me of not only my favorite city, but of exploring a really fascinating space and discovering this treasure. The second companion I want to introduce you to is my floof, my purple floof. When we first moved to Arizona, it was about a decade ago, we started going to the Arizona State Fair, which is held in October. We would go, and my husband is a really great pitcher, and we found this game where you could throw a baseball at plastic plates and break them, and if you broke so many you could win a big prize. And so many of my daughter's stuffies have been won there, but I won this for myself by playing that same game because I also have a good arm and good aim. And I love this floof. I love the floof's eyeballs, how sparkly they are. I love how floofy the floof is. And the floof has been a source of comfort at various times since then. Sometimes, often to me, but also to my kids. They like the floof too. And the third companion I want to introduce you to is Schädel, which is the name of this skull, but is also the German word for skull. I want to say that I bought this skull at a Big Lots near me last October. I was feeling very Halloween-y and autumnal, and I have always had a fascination with death, which I'm sure was cultivated by my going to my first funeral when I was 3, and then having gone to many funerals since then. And I was raised as a Catholic, so, death is a big thing for Catholics. And I like Shadel because Shadel also has sparkly eyes. I'm into sparkles. And Shadel reminds me that I will not remain in this life forever, and that, I have choices to make about how I spend my time, and that's something worth thinking about. So we'll stick Shadel here. Shadel also reminds me of my love of German, and my love of German novels, and so from these 3 companions, you can get a bit of my story from them, and they serve as a reminder to me of my story, which is the main thing. They remind me of what I really enjoy and what is deeply meaningful to me. And so with that in mind, I want you to consider your own companion. I've given you examples from since I've been a grown-up, but think of a childhood companion. Could have been a stuffed animal, could have been like a rocking horse, could have been anything. And think of all the times you spent with that companion. What kinds of things did you do together? What kinds of things did you imagine? What kinds of adventures did you take? What kinds of arguments did you have? What kind of listener was this companion, and what stories did you tell it? I want you to take a little time and maybe write a page in your journal about this companion and the story that you and this companion had. And when you're done, I want you to read through it and consider how this companion supported you. And is there a way that you can take this companion and this companion's support for you and bring it forward into your world a little bit? Maybe by sharing it with somebody you're close to, just telling the story. Not with any agenda, but just telling the story. Because part of the challenge of the creative process is, one, finding someone you trust that you can share your creativity with, and sometimes the most trustworthy companion is the one who isn't human. But then after you've found that trust, then there's an invitation to sink so deeply into the joy of your creativity that you invite others into it as well. Not just your non-human companions, but your human ones. And it doesn't have to be a big, huge deal, but it could be. It's all up to you. Like, just think about when you think of your own creativity and the things that you've done, what is one joyful way that you can share that while still feeling safe and fully supported? I want to thank you, as always, for your interest in this series. Thanks especially to my Patreon patrons, without whom this would not be possible. So thank you to the sticky ones. I'm looking forward to drawing the next card for this series next month, early next month. I'll announce that on Patreon, and then at the end of the month I'll make the recording. First for my Patreon patrons, and then I'll show it to everyone else. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.